You're born on August 15th, 1769, in Ajaccio, Corsica, into a struggling noble family. You're Napoleon Bonaparte, the second of 8 children. Your father, Carlo, is drowning in debt, his voice trembling as he pleads with creditors outside your tiny home. Your mother, Letizia, is exhausted, her hands rough from endless work to keep the family fed. Corsica has just been conquered by France, and your family, proud Corsican patriots, must bow to their new overlords. You open your eyes for the first time, and the air is thick with tension. From the moment you're born, you know you'll have to fight for everything you get. As the years creep by, you're 5 years old, still in Corsica, where survival is a daily battle. You hear your father argue with French officials, their voices sharp and accusing, while your mother cries softly at night, her sobs echoing through the thin walls. Your siblings are always sick, their frail bodies shivering under threadbare blankets. One night, you watch helplessly as your younger brother succumbs to fever, his tiny hand going limp in yours. You're small, scrawny, and already feel like an outsider. Corsicans hate the French, and the French despise Corsicans. The weight of this divided world presses down on you, and you start to realize this life won't be kind. By the time you're 7, you're running through the rugged Corsican hills, playing with your siblings, but the games are rough, mirroring the harshness of your world. You're smaller than the other boys, and they push you around, laughing at your tattered clothes. You fight back, your fists bruised but determined, earning a reputation as a scrappy child. At home, your father's debts grow, and French soldiers patrol the streets, their presence a constant reminder of your family's shame. You clench your jaw, vowing to rise above this, but the seeds of struggle are already planted deep. At 9 years old, your father sends you to a military school in Brienne, France, hoping for a better future. You leave Corsica behind, but the journey is grueling, and you arrive feeling small and out of place. You barely speak French, and your thick Corsican accent makes the other boys laugh. They call you a Corsican savage and mock your poverty. Your uniform is tattered, and you have no money for treats. You sit alone in a cold dormitory, clenching your fists as their taunts echo in your ears. You dream of greatness, but every day reminds you you're nothing here. You're 11 now, still at Brienne, and the isolation deepens. You bury yourself in books about history and war, imagining yourself as a great conqueror. But the reality is far crueler. The other boys exclude you from their games, whispering about your strange accent and poor background. One day, you overhear a teacher say you'll never amount to anything. A Corsican peasant with no future. The words sting, and you retreat to the library, your only refuge, vowing to prove them wrong. But the loneliness gnaws at you, a constant companion in this foreign land. At 16, you enroll in a military academy in Paris, hoping to climb the ranks. You learn faster than anyone, your mind sharp and calculating, but the aristocrats look down on you because of your Corsican roots. You graduate in 1 year instead of 2, a feat that should bring praise, but instead, you're sent as a junior lieutenant to a backwater garrison. You sit in a cold barracks, staring at the muddy walls, the stench of damp would fill in your lungs. Your dreams of glory feel like a cruel illusion, and you wonder if you'll ever escape this mediocrity. You're 18, stationed in a small French town, when you witness your first skirmish, a minor revolt against the crown. You're ordered to help suppress it, and you watch as soldiers fire on desperate peasants, their screams piercing the air. A young boy, no older than you were in Corsica, falls dead in the street, his blood staining the cobblestones. You feel a knot in your stomach, the weight of what war truly means sinking in. You're just a junior officer, but already you're learning. Power comes at a price, and you'll have to pay it. By 20, the French Revolution of 1789 erupts, shaking the world around you. You see a chance to rise amidst the chaos, but back in Corsica, your family is in danger. The island is torn between revolutionaries and royalists. Your older brother Joseph supports the revolution, but the Corsican leader Paoli, your childhood hero, brands you a traitor for siding with France. In 1793, tensions boil over, and you're forced to flee Corsica with your family, leaving everything behind. You stand on the deck of a creaking ship, watching your home disappear, knowing Paoli, your former idol, is now your enemy. At 24, you finally gain recognition by commanding artillery at the siege of Toulon in 1793. You devise a brilliant strategy, and the city falls to your forces, earning you a promotion to brigadier general. But the victory feels hollow. Your soldiers die by the dozens, their bodies piling up in the mud as cannon fire echoes in the distance. You walk to the battlefield, the stench of death overwhelming, and realize Every triumph is paid for in blood. Back in Paris, your success breeds envy, and you hear whispers. Politicians are already plotting against you. In 1796, you marry Josephine de Beauharnais. You're 26, and you're madly in love, your heart racing every time you see her. But while you're leading a campaign in Italy, rumors reach you. Josephine is cheating on you with a young officer. You write her desperate letters, pouring out your soul, but her replies are cold, dismissive. You sit in your tent, the candle flickering, feeling your heart shatter. You're winning battles on the field, but back home, betrayal festers. You start to wonder, can you trust anyone at all? Your Italian campaign continues, and at 27, you're hailed as a military genius, defeating the Austrians at every turn. But the victories take their toll. You barely sleep, your body aching from endless marches, and your soldiers look to you with weary eyes, their faith in you the only thing keeping them going. One night, you collapse from exhaustion, your vision blurring as you clutch a map. You've conquered lands, but you're losing yourself in the process, and the whispers of betrayal from Paris grow louder. In 1798, you set off for Egypt to disrupt British trade routes. You're 29 and full of ambition, dreaming of an empire that stretches to the east. But the expedition becomes a nightmare. Your soldiers die from heat, disease, and Bedouin attacks, their bodies littering the desert sands. The Battle of Abuker ends in disaster. The British fleet destroys your ships, leaving you cut off from France. You abandon your army and sneak back to Paris, but the screams of your men echo in your mind. You'll never escape the guilt of leaving them to die. In 1799, you stage the coup of 18 Brumaire and become first consul. You're 30 and you've seized power, the streets of Paris buzzing with your name. But your old friends, like General Moreau, turn away, believing you betrayed the revolution's ideals. Even your brother Lucien, who helped you in the coup, starts to distance himself, his eyes cold when he looks at you. You sit in your new office, the weight of leadership pressing down on you, and realize power makes you lonely. Everyone around you either fears you or wants something from you. In 1804, you declare yourself emperor. You're 35, and at the peak of your power, the world trembling at your name. But the pressure grows unbearable. Your siblings, whom you made kings and queens, bicker and demand more power, their greed tearing your family apart. Your mother, Letizia, refuses to attend your coronation, her absence a silent rebuke. She doesn't believe in your greatness. And Josephine can't give you an heir, so you consider divorce. Even though you still love her, you feel the crown crushing your head. Its weight heavier than you ever imagined. You wage endless wars, each victory feeding your ambition but weakening your grip. Austerlitz in 1805 brings you glory, but by 1810 you're 41, and the cracks in your empire are showing. Spain rebels against your brother Joseph's rule, and your soldiers are bogged down in a brutal guerrilla war. You receive reports of mounting casualties, and the faces of the dead haunt your dreams. You're stretched too thin, and your enemies, Britain, Austria, Prussia, are circling like vultures, waiting for you to falter. By 1812, you decide to invade Russia. You're 43, and it's your greatest gamble. Your Grande Army of 600,000 men marches into frozen wasteland, but starvation, cold, and partisans destroy your soldiers. You lose 90% of your army, their frozen bodies littering the snow. Moscow burns before your eyes, the flames reflecting in your hollow gaze. You return to France broken, your once invincible army reduced to shadow. Europe unites against you, and you feel the walls closing in. In 1813, after your defeat at Leipzig, your former allies, Austria, Prussia, even your father-in-law, the Emperor of Austria, betray you. Your Marshal Murat, whom you made King of Naples, defects to the enemy, his betrayal cutting deeper than any sword. Your foreign minister Talleyrand schemes behind your back, calling you a tyrant in secret letters. You scream at your generals, your voice hoarse, but they no longer listen, their eyes averted. You stand alone in your war room, maps scattered on the floor, realizing you have no one left. In 1814, you're forced to abdicate. You're 44 and exiled to the island of Elba, a speck in the Mediterranean. You, the man who ruled Europe, now sit in a tiny house surrounded by the sea, the salty air stinging your skin. Your empire has collapsed, your family has turned away, and Josephine dies while you're here, her death a dagger in your heart. You hear the guards laughing at you, calling you shorty, their mockery echoing in the stillness. You clench your fists, but there's nothing you can do. You're a prisoner of your own legacy. In 1815, You escape from Elba and return to France, a flicker of hope igniting in your chest. You're 45, and the people cheer for you, but it's a fleeting moment. You gather an army and march to Waterloo, but on June 18th, 1815, you lose. Your soldiers flee, their cries swallowed by the chaos, and you stand on the battlefield, watching your dreams die in the mud. The British and Prussians crush your army, their cannons roaring in triumph. You know, this is the end of everything you fought for. You're sent into exile on St. Helena, to a tiny, damp house infested with rats. You're 46, and no longer an emperor. You're a prisoner. The British governor, Hudson Lowe, mocks you, restricting your every move, his sneer a constant reminder of your fall. Your old friends are either dead or have forgotten you. You start coughing, the pain in your stomach unbearable, and on May 5th, 1821, you die alone at 51, whispering, "France, army, Josephine." Your enemies rejoice, and your body is buried in an unmarked grave. Your conquests are forgotten, your empire destroyed, and your son, Napoleon II, dies young, inheriting nothing. Being Napoleon means living in constant struggle, where every step forward leads to betrayal, loss, and humiliation. From your birth in Corsica to your death on St. Helena, your life was a parade of pain, loneliness, and disappointment. Want to know whose fate was even worse? Subscribe and watch the next video to find out.